This series is going to be about story threads, plot points, external elements of movies that just annoy me so much. It can get very broad at times, but for this very first episode, let's keep it with a small topic: glass prisons. Before we get started, let me read my disclaimer as well. I know these choices are made by the filmmakers to enhance cinematic impact, but still, it annoys me, and hell, I gotta whine about something. This episode is going to be focused on villains and their extremely implausible plans, but let's talk about the villains. Who are we going to be putting into this list? What do the villains Loki, Hannibal Lecter, Raul Silva from Skyfall, Khan from Star Trek, and Kevin Spacey from Seven have in common? Now, did those images help you? If not, let me tell you what I'm getting at. All those characters I named spend time behind a prison made of glass, an element which is structurally weaker than metal. Is glass an element? I flunked high school chemistry, I was too busy watching movies. And this ranges to more than just an element. Why put all these people where they have clear visual access to you, to the protagonist? You know that they're going to manipulate you, and it annoys me because this is the one point where our protagonist, who has everything going right for him, does something wrong. He miraculously fails. He caught the bad guy, but somehow the dude escapes or makes a case to be let go. Now, this isn't that bothersome in earlier films, such as Seven and Silence of the Lambs. It started to bother me when The Dark Knight came around. More so, it bothered me the droves and droves of people that were blown away by the Joker's plan. What they didn't realize is how the Joker's plan made Batman look like an absolute idiot. The same man who carries the nickname of the world's greatest detective. But then we saw it in the Avengers when Loki did the exact same thing, and then we saw it in Skyfall the same exact year, and then with Star Trek Into Darkness a year later. But the perpetrator of this crime, the one which went way overboard with this, is the movie Skyfall. It sort of ruined the film for me, just sort of. How, you ask? Well, first of all, it shows James Bond in his journey, who had a great moment of intelligence and resourcefulness in capturing Raul Silva, and it completely ruins this. How, you might be asking? Well, let's break down Raul Silva's plan, shall we? Let's go back to the very beginning. Raul Silva, he hires a mercenary, Patrice, to steal a hard drive that contains the identity of undercover MI6 agents, right? That agent also supposedly kills James Bond. He blows up MI6 as well. He also assigns Patrice to kill some people. Bond finds him, kills him, and acts as if he did the job and proceeds to meet Silva. And Silva knew this would happen, right? Because he's not surprised at all when Bond shows up. Instead, he tells this really great speech, which is sort of an analogy. Would he have said that to and about Patrice? I highly doubt it, so it's safe to say that Raul Silva knew that James Bond would resurrect himself and kill Patrice and be sitting right in front of them. Silva is then captured and taken to London, put in the new MI6 location, keyword new. He knows that M has been summoned to go to a trial or something. He waits till Q connects into his computer, thus releasing a virus, and which leads to his escape. His minions, who are incredibly punctual, hand him some police clothes. He happens to board a train, which Bond also boards. Bond catches up to him. Silva then stops climbing the ladder, mocks Bond, and blows up a piece of property, which leads to another train to come crashing onto Bond. A train that he had planned to come crashing down at that exact time. What would have happened if the London Underground had a malfunction and that specific train wasn't working? So let's just do a recap. How many things did Silva knew would happen? He knew that Q would connect his laptop onto Silva's. He knew where M was going to be. He knew that he'd be able to jump onto the subway. He knew exactly where Bond would be able to stop him. I mean, why else would you place an elaborate trap here and not anywhere else? And finally, he knew that he would reach the courtroom at the exact time M finished her heartfelt story. Do I need to tell you how friggin' insane all of that sounds? I mean, this was just an ex-agent, not God. The film does try to remedy all this craziness by adding this line of dialogue.
Bond, this isn't an escape. This was years in the planning.
He wanted us to capture him. He wanted us to access his computer. It was all planned.
Blowing up HQ, doing the emergency protocols, knowing we'd retreat down here.
But I'm really sorry, I doubt that this person would know so much about MI6 after being casted away. Does every ex-agent know about the architecture of the new MI6 and how it leads into the London Underground? My problem with this whole sequence is that it takes all these characters who are perceived to be smart, and they are smart, in the film until that one moment they come off to be absolutely stupid. Why would Q connect to an unknown device? Why would you keep a whopping one security guard watching this criminal? Put friggin' James Bond in there to watch this guy. If you had that scene in the film where Bond is watching Raul Silva and there's a pane of glass just blocking them, it would have been a great companion piece to the scene that took place before. That would have been another great scene where both of them try to get the mental edge over each other, but no, James Bond is an idiot too. Bond knows that this guy really hates M, so why did Bond have to stop and think, wait, he might be going to the courtroom? Bond should have stopped and really went, hey, wait a minute, I saw that Batman movie. This looks eerily similar. I should have handcuffed this guy or something. And it's the same thing in The Dark Knight. Why did you not handcuff the Joker? It's just a killer clown. Those are very few and far in between, right? And another problem with Silva's plan is that all that needed to go wrong was one thing, and he would have been dust. And finally, the biggest problem with this thing is why would you keep him locked behind a singular prison cell made of glass? Why not throw him in the general population? Bond isn't Batman, he's not averse to killing. Throw him in the general population and I'm pretty sure Bond would be happy if Silva drops the soap. I know Silva would be happy if he drops the soap. Every single thing about this scene is wrong and it only exists because the script told it to. And now don't get me wrong, I friggin' love this film. I think the sequence is very well staged, it has high tension as well, but from a writing standpoint, it does come off as rather weak. Now when writing an action sequence, you want to make sure that every action your character takes is the only action he should take. That in turn makes for a great action sequence. Why did Bond not drive behind Silva? Why did he run on foot? He could have easily stopped anyone and said, MI6 business, give me a call. James Bond is a smart dude, and I find it highly irregular in this scene that he would chase a guy on foot. And even if he would use his higher intelligence to get ahead in the race. That's the brilliant part about the parkour chase at Casino Royale. It goes against everything the film has established so far just so they can have an action sequence, while an action sequence just took place about 15 minutes ago. This scene didn't really need to be an action sequence. It could have been really something cool where Silva succeeds in manipulating James Bond, seeing as how he failed earlier in the film. It could have been centered around M, since both of them have issues with M, like that one scene at the end of American Gangster. That's something the Avengers film did right. Loki's manipulation is really cool, but his plan is so idiotic. He wants to use the Hulk? Really? Last I checked, grass is green and water's wet. Of course he wants to use the friggin' Hulk. But what am I saying? What am I getting at? Does this, however, mean that Skyfall and the Avengers are bad films? No, not at all. The cinematography on Skyfall is one of the best ever. Not the best for an action movie, but some of the best cinematography ever. What won best cinematography that year, by the way? Wait, what? So visual effects equates to cinematography now? They're the same thing now? Anyway, back to Skyfall and the Avengers. What am I getting at? They're both awesome films, but I just want you to know and remember that when an antagonist gets captured midway through the movie, remember that half the movie's still remaining, so he will inevitably escape. It is not good writing. And number two, it involves our protagonist have a momentary lapse of judgment and logic. So yeah, people, that's about it. I hope I've made my points clear, and hopefully next time you see a movie which features the antagonist get captured midway through the movie, you'll probably roll your eyes. That would make me happy if you roll your eyes. As always, people, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, but even more importantly, hit that free subscribe button and share this video. My name is Ramiz Khan, and thank you for watching Movies Are Stupid. And tune in next time as we discuss guilt in films. 12 Years a Slave?
We coming for you,
How'd that get there? Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, people, again, thank you so much for watching. Remember to have a cold malt beverage when you see Skyfall the next time. Thank you so much, and remember to love yourselves.